sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Fantasy Sports and Politics. It's Mr. FSP, doing what I get. Let me slow down in my old age. Doing what I do to always please you. I changed it up a little bit. I got my coffee. Feeling a little spry this morning. And we're going to talk about some stuff, man. Couple things. First thing, I don't know. Well, you know what? Let me just do it this way. We're going to talk about NFL coaches being hired and fired. We're going to talk about the college football championship. Told you Indiana was going to do it. We're going to talk about the conference finals that's happening in the NFL, how they came about, and we'll discuss in depth when we talk about the hiring and firings, the Buffalo Bills and their owner, Mr. Pagula. Did he put a nail in the coffin of the Buffalo Bills window of opportunity? It's a lot of things he said. And what I want to do is make sure that we all understand there are things that we think, there are things that we know, and then there are things that we think and know and say. I think Mr. Pagula, he really should have thought about what he said a lot more before he said it. But before we get to that, let's play some music, shall we? Now, I want to get to, I don't know if that's too loud. Let me make sure that's not too loud. Okay. We'll keep it there. College football playoff / championship. A team in Indiana, a basketball school, not a football school, has gone undefeated, not one 5-star recruit. Now, players did transfer to Indiana, but I think it was maybe 4 or 5 4-star players. The rest had the desire and the will to win and listen to their coach. The key to football is what? Control the line of scrimmage. That means the big uglies up front, your linemen, defensive and offensive linemen, are the reason why players can do what they do at the skilled positions. Indiana is clearly a run-dominant offensive line that has the ability to pass protect. However, in this one game, Miami was able to get to him more times in one game than any team all season. So these guys were able to protect Mendoza Mendoza get the ball off and do a couple things that are just awesome with those big receivers. And the running game. The running game was so outstanding that, and I said that this Miami versus Indiana game is going to seem more like an NFL game. Because Miami, oh my God, the freshman receiver, number 10, and then the running back, they're NFL ready. But Miami, you better hold on to them for at least one more year. One more year. Right? Beck is gone. He's out. His eligibility is up. In fact, not a company, but I forget what school. I forget the school. But they're suing their quarterback who is attempting to leave and go to Miami because of nil, and Beck is gone. Miami is going to be in it for a couple years. They're going to be in the hunt for the championship of college football for a couple years with that team. Now, can Indiana do the same thing once Mendoza leaves? Mendoza's slated to be the #1 overall pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. Can they retool at that position, play the style of play they had, and dominate? Now listen, Indiana's in the Big Ten. Let's look at some teams in the Big Ten. Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Oregon, right? Penn State, Maryland. I mean, it's not like they had an easy season, even though some say that the Big Ten East, which is Maryland, Penn State, all those other teams, Ohio State, and mind you, Ohio State was #1 all season. They say that that's the weaker of the two sides, right? But still, they went undefeated and beat everybody that was in front of them. Also, when they got to the playoff, they didn't pick their opponent. It wasn't a schedule fix. It was whoever won was in their path. I got to tell you guys, I have not been this excited about college football, the playoffs that is, even though my team, Oklahoma, was eliminated, in a long time. In a long time. I think there's a lot of NFL ready players now. Let's transition from college, because it's over with now, to the pros. 2 years ago, 5 or 6 QBs were taken in the first round? Caleb Williams, Jalen Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, McCarthy, JJ McCarthy. Three of those 5. Oh, and Drake May. Duh. How did I forget Drake May? And Drake May. So 4 of the 6 have either won a division title, taken their team to the playoffs, and or to the division, the conference final. None to the Super Bowl yet. But over in the AFC, that's going to change. I know. We're going to talk about how bonehead of a move I think Sean Payton made running Bo Nix on the second to last play of overtime, causing him to break his ankle, end his season, and in my opinion, end the Broncos' chances of going to the Super Bowl. Jarrett Stidham is no Bo Nix. There's a reason why Jarrett Stidham has been a backup his entire career and never a really good quarterback to compete for a starting job. Because some backups can compete for a starting job and maintain it. Jacoby Brissett is one of them. Now, when somebody younger, a little more athletic, a little better comes in, yeah, he'll see the position. But Stidham is not that guy. Drake May. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. The Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl. I know Drake May has had 10 sacks in the last 2 games, 5 turnovers in the last 2 games. But he also has a running game built for this time of the season. We're not even talking about Stephon Diggs in the passing game. We're not. The defense. I told you guys at the beginning of the preseason, when I ranked all the teams, the Patriots defense was going to be a top defense. And they are. Keeping them in the games. But 4 of the 6 quarterbacks picked 2 years ago have began to pan out. Think about this. Think about this, what I'm about to tell you. Mind-blowing. Last year's crop of quarterbacks are better than the same crop of quarterbacks that came out with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Think about that. And Sam Darnold has a chance to go to the Super Bowl as well. We haven't got to the Rams and Seattle game yet, but I want you to think about that. 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson, never made it to a conference championship. Matter of fact, there's only one playoff game. Our guy, Josh Allen, has made it to the conference game, but has been a perpetual loser. Sam Darnold. Last year was his really only good year, excellent year in the NFL. That's another guy that was looked at as a starting quarterback, failed to reach the potential, and then got into a system that accentuated his abilities and became a starting quarterback, got him a big-time contract with Seattle, and he's in the NFC Conference Championship game. Mainly because the defense, but we'll talk about that. Baker Mayfield. I love Baker. And I love the fact that Baker Mayfield took a shot at Kevin Stefanski. I do not believe in Kevin Stefanski. He is not a quarterback whisperer like some people said he was. 2-time Coach of the Year? Okay. Let's just say some of those writers that voted for that got it wrong. Because if you look at the amount of quarterbacks he's gone through and how the teams have not advanced outside of Baker, what has he really done? What has he done? He knows how to call an offense. But I will say he doesn't know how to win. Raheem Morris had more wins in the last 2 years than Kevin Stefanski did. But Raheem's gone. Kevin Stefanski's in. So Baker, he's won a couple of division titles in Tampa Bay. The question was who's going to replace Tom Brady, and ended up being Baker. He's made a push in the playoffs, but never to the conference championship. So again, I tell you, the 2024 class of quarterbacks has already exceeded the class that had Baker, Sam, I believe Kyler was in there too. No, Kyler wasn't in there because Baker was the number 1 pick and Kyler came next year. But Baker, Josh, Lamar, Sam, and whoever else was in there. And remember, there are 3 MVP quarterbacks, NFL MVP quarterbacks in that class. But this current 2024 class has already surpassed that class when it comes to achievements. When it comes to achievements, only person, no, yeah, because it's been 8 years, right? Pat came in a year before them, if I'm not mistaken. Pat Mahomes came in, because I think this is Pat's 9th year, 10th year. All those other quarterbacks came in 8 years ago. Only 1, now 2, have made it to their conference championship game. Drake May should have been Bo Nix. Last year, Jalen Daniels. I'm sorry, Big JD. You know I love you, bro. Caleb almost made it. Michael Penix injury history, and I told you guys I don't believe in JJ McCarthy. Minnesota, they swung. I think they missed. That's just me. Think about it. The 2 quarterbacks that led the national championship game several years ago, a couple years ago, 2 years ago. University of Washington was Michael Penix. University of Michigan was JJ McCarthy. Both in the NFL, both not looking so hot. Penix because of injury. McCarthy is looking like an injured Penix. Every other couple games getting injured. And let me ask you your fantasy question. How did it make you feel when you drafted Justin Jefferson and he produced nothing for you all year? JJ McCarthy has dropped Justin Jefferson's value down quite a bit. And I don't think anybody's going to keep him as a keeper next year. If they do, that is wild, especially with JJ McCarthy there. That takes me to the hirings and firings in the NFL. Already talked about Kevin Stefanski. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Kevin Stefanski, I would have rather see him go to Buffalo or something like that. Just to be honest. Because he can't mess up Josh. Josh is already good. Right? But that's what Atlanta chose. The Ravens chose Mr. Jesse Minter, former player, great defensive mind, young, as in coaching young. They're trying to take the same model as Pittsburgh did as a past tense of does. Pittsburgh would find the diamond in the rough and keep them for years and years. Pittsburgh now has their 4th head coach in team history. I'll get to Pittsburgh in a minute. But Mr. Minter comes to Baltimore defensive minded. We're going to make this defense tough. I don't know who's going to have as his offensive coordinator, but whoever it is going to have to work with Lamar and maybe 1 year of Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. Is it time to move on from Mark Andrews? Now remember, Isaiah Likely is a free agent. I think Isaiah Likely is going to New York with Harbaugh. We'll get to the Giants in a minute. But Baltimore is a good spot for a mentor. I can't complain. I cannot complain. Harbaugh goes to the Giants. I thought Harbaugh should have went to Atlanta because it was an easier division to dominate and win, especially with the pieces it has. But he goes to the Giants with great pieces, young pieces, but a tough division. Now, he also supposedly has some say over personnel, which is important. When you have, an 18-year coaching history, a Super Bowl ring, you have a little gravitas, right? You don't want to be dictated to by a guy that just might be fired next year at the end of the season or during the season. A general manager, that is. That's a good hire to me. The Giants are going to be formidable with the quarterback, the running back, and y'all forgot Malik Neighbors is there. That's a three-headed monster, man. And that defense is already nice. Already nice. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. Okay. Let's go down. And by the way, one division had all of its coaches fired except the coach with the worst record. Fired or stepped down. The AFC North. Pittsburgh has Mike McCarthy as of yesterday, right? But Mike Tomlin's out. Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski's out. Some people are declining to go there. Some people are whatever. Baltimore. We just talked about Jess Smith. 3 of the 4. How does the Bengals head coach escape this? Well, out of all 4 teams, this is the only team that made it to the Super Bowl. That's the only reason why I believe that head coach isn't gone. Because I've already said the Comeback Player of the Year award needs to be named the Joe Burrow Award. Because every other year, he's the Comeback Player of the Year because the offensive line keeps getting him hurt. It's not that Joe Burrow is holding on to the ball too long. The offensive line is garbage. So again, 3 of the 4 teams of the AFC North, new coaches, but the Bengals kept theirs. It is what it is. As I said, Mike McCarthy is reportedly signing or working on a deal to become the 4th head coach in Pittsburgh Steelers history. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, Mike McCarthy. Now, Mike McCarthy isn't old, but he's not a young, spry chicken either. Do I see him doing 20 years? No, not at all. Not at all. That's why I said what Pittsburgh used to do or did. Under Khan, the Rooneys have entrusted Khan to build this team. And he's done a decent job. I can't deny it. But I think leaving finding that young, hungry coach that can be there long term, I think that's one of the biggest formulas as to why Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. They're 6 world championships. Now, Mike McCarthy is head coach. Isn't Aaron Rodgers still under contract for 1 year? Did Mike McCarthy let Aaron go because he wanted to bring in Jordan Love? Mike McCarthy did well in Dallas. Dallas defense just sucked. But here's the thing. Pittsburgh is a run-heavy city. McCarthy does not run the ball. He does not run the ball. That was one of Rodgers' complaints. Arthur Smith is gone. Arthur Smith reportedly is going to be the new offensive coordinator at Ohio State. So he's going back to the college ranks. Because Mike McCarthy's going to call plays. That's what he does. I don't think this is a good fit. Pittsburgh. I think this is not the best option for you guys. I think that if you're going to roll with Mike McCarthy, you're looking at a 5 to 6 year window as opposed to a 20 year, 18, whatever. One, he's a lot older. I think he's like now I think he's one of the oldest coaches in the NFL. 20 years, I don't think that's going to come out of him in Pittsburgh. So that covers Baltimore, that covers Pittsburgh. I think Jim Schwartz should be the head coach of Cleveland. He's had 2 interviews. He's been on the staff. He's had that defense humming. They trust him. Why is he not the head coach? He has head coaching experience already when he was the head coach in Detroit. You keep him in-house. I would have loved Mike McDaniels to go there, but Mike McDaniels signed a contract to be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, but his contract is kind of funny. He withdrew his name from Cleveland, and he withdrew his name from another head coaching position, but it's still left open if the Raiders come calling. Or if another team comes calling. Because 5 of the 10 teams have already been covered, right? The Giants, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Miami. Haven't got to Miami yet. Let me think. The one in the north. We haven't gotten anybody with the Cardinals yet. They're probably the last ones. Cardinals and Cleveland probably the last ones to hire. Nobody's with the Raiders. Oh my gosh. I just had the 15 in my head and I can't remember who the 15 was. I gotta look. I really do. I'm sorry, guys. Because I had this in my head and I don't believe that I can't remember the teams. Okay, week 16. Let me look at the team. Rams, Seahawks, Eagles, Commanders, Packers, Bears, Buccaneers, Panthers, Browns won it. Chargers already got it. Cowboys still got them. Jets, Saints, Giants already talked. The Titans. That's who the other team is. And I'm sorry. Mr. Saleh, you just accepted a reclamation project, just like you did with the Jets, minus the spotlight. From what has been said, the ownership in Tennessee is much like the ownership with the Jets, but spending less money. Cam Ward is now your quarterback. That's the one you're riding with. Can you fix the defense? Probably. Because defense was good until they let a lot of players go. I mean, a lot of them. And now they're in New England, about to go to the Super Bowl. But Robert Saleh, what are you going to do to fix that offense? That's the question, my friend. I wouldn't have thought Tennessee would be one of the first 5 out of the 10 to hire their coach. And I didn't think it should have been you, but it is. It is. I don't agree with that, dude. I think Robert Saleh should have waited. Go to Cleveland, right? At least you have Myles Garrett and that entire defense. Might be some cap issues. I got it. But let's think about it this way. There are more tools, in my opinion, in Cleveland than there are in Tennessee. Just my opinion. I also thought Miami was going to hire Shula from the Rams. This is one of the sons of Don Shula. Think about the branding for the franchise on that. Father to son. And the fact that the guy is an excellent defensive coordinator. Even though his run stopping ability with his players is that defense moves. And he was one of the people that lobbied for Jared Verse. And when Jared Verse slipped to him, got him and put a whole bunch of players, young players around him, and they're going to be monsters. But they chose who they chose, right? They went to Green Bay, got a coach and a GM. And the one thing is this, I'm not sure if it was the coach or the GM who said it for Miami. You know, the team is built for, you got to play Buffalo, the Jets, and New England in the winter. We're not built for that. And it's true. They're built for fun in the sun, AstroTurf Dome teams. So I believe the identity of that team is about to change. Devin Achane is a beast, but he's not the run guy that they're talking about doing. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. All right. That leads me to Buffalo. Buffalo interviews Ryan Daboll. Well, I'm thinking, okay, he used to be the offensive coordinator. He's the one that brought Josh Allen up, right? Natural thing to do. Then these mofos go interview Phillip Rivers. Great quarterback, great leader, coached high school, great. Came back for about 5 games, retired, so now his clock resets for the Hall of Fame. But now he's probably going to get in after what he did because he looked good. They didn't win, but he looked good. They did the Rooney Rule thing, got it. Which has, anyway. Once I get to this owner's comments, Pagula, you'll see why I'm like for the Rooney Rule with them. But to me, it's a no-brainer. You bring back Brian Daboll, who was offensive coordinator, and got Josh Allen where he was at the time. And now Josh is better. So you don't have to do a great deal of mentoring and changing him, but you do have to remember this is the franchise quarterback. There is a brand new stadium that has been built and sold out already. The optics of this is what you need, especially after what happened with the owner and the GM, Mr. Bean, Brandon Bean. I think Mr. Bean should have been fired before or with Sean McDermott. Quite honestly, they were a team. And the groceries were bought by Brandon Bean. I'm going to get to that. Let me just get to it. Look, When an NFL owner has a press conference saying why he fired the coach, and he says that a critical play in that game was wrong, but when he came into the locker room after that and saw how Josh was sobbing and everybody else, he made the decision right then and there to fire Sean McDermott. They took him home. A day or two went by, but then they fired Sean McDermott. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, that they had plateaued with McDermott, which I can understand, but he said a whole bunch of things were McDermott's fault and why he needed to go. When Brandon Beane got promoted at the same press conference to the president of the team and general manager, the question was asked about Keon Coleman and a number one receiver, having a number one receiver. In the middle of Brandon Beane's comments, Mr. Pagola interjected and said that was the coaching staff who picked him. The coaching staff is the one that wanted to get him. He said he is not saying that Mr. Beane wouldn't have, drafted him, but not there. He would have went in a different direction. Dude, mind you guys, Keon Coleman is still on the team. Keon Coleman still has like 2 years left on his contract. How does that sound? I don't think Keon Coleman is going to be on that team after this upcoming draft. I get it. The young man has a checkered history, professional history right now, 2 years, not able to play, not being productive, so on and so forth. But I'm going to tell you, as an owner, you do not say stuff like that to the public. Remember, there are things you think, there are things you say, and there are things that you think you say. And what I think Mr. Pagula said was what he was thinking and didn't really think about what he was saying. You just threw, first of all, you said Sean McDermott was limited as a head coach and he couldn't get them anywhere past the next step. And all these issues were his mistakes. The 13 seconds was mismanaged. Talking about when Kansas City came back in 13 seconds to beat Buffalo going to the Super Bowl, right? Injuries, play calling, okay. Defense, yeah. But there were a lot more issues at hand because you can only make the soup, the stew, the meal with what you're provided. You cannot make a 5-star meal with a can of Spam. That's pretty much what you got. A lot of people like Spam. A lot of people like Josh Allen. A lot of people like to use Spam in different ways. A lot of people don't like Spam. I don't like Spam. Ugh. So, for this owner to literally downgrade his former coach, speak ill of a current player who was their top pick in the draft 2 years ago, because they traded out of the first and picked up Coleman in the second with their first pick in the 2024 draft. I thought it was a good pick. I did. I don't know if they can't coach him right. I don't know if he's limited. I don't know what the issue is, but I know he is a talent that they can use. I guess not the way they wanted to use him. But this owner, Brandon Bean as well. No mas. No more. No more. How do we get Buffalo over that hump? I'm telling you, bring back Brian Daboll. Do they make it to the Super Bowl? I think if they implement his offense, and Shakir is a very good receiver. Don't get me wrong. He's not number one. You need a number one receiver. Whether you get that in the draft or you get a free agent, you need to get somebody in there to start off fresh, new, relatively young, not old and broken down like Amari Cooper. Sorry, no. They'll never do that again, Mr. Bean. But Buffalo, your owner has closed your window that much more by his comments and letting go of Sean McDermott. I don't think they should have fired him. That's just me. With that being the case, a lot of good openings came up this year. Think about it. One third of the NFL franchises have new coaches this upcoming year. What, 32 teams? 10 coaching jobs, roughly a third. Roughly. You can't, oh my gosh. Knowing that Pagula was kind of hands-on in the beginning, right? I believe his wife was the face of the team, and then I don't know what happened, but now he's the face. But early on, he would talk a lot. And he hadn't talked to the media in quite some time, and it showed. It showed. Buffalo, you're going to need some help. Especially if Drake May gets to the Super Bowl in his second year. Woo! And the team is young in New England. Minus a few old heads. A few. Not a lot. Miami's got to rebuild. The Jets are rebuilding, but they need to find a quarterback. Let's talk about it, y'all. What's going to happen? But this leads me to the last conversation of the week. The Rams versus Seahawks. Denver versus New England. Let's start there first. Denver versus New England. Again, Sean Payton. Why in the bloody blue blazes do you run a quarterback power to the left when you're in field goal range already after pass interference and all the other good stuff? I get it. No one would think he's going to have a freakish injury. Bo Nix breaking his ankle. No one's thinking that. But you have a running back for that purpose. Period. Because on the second play, on the very next play, you hand it to the running back. Make it make sense, Waldo. This was Denver's year. I ain't gonna lie. This was Denver's year to win the Super Bowl. My guy, Nick Mason, Reverend Mason, Pastor Mason. Look, you and your Broncos, woohoo! Down the drain now. My boy Norm, down the drain now. I got a student in my class, Gavin, down the drain now. I'm just telling you, man. Jared Stidham isn't even a manageable quarterback. The defense is going to have to do everything. Literally. The defense is going to have to do everything. No joke. They're going to have to do everything. And when they do, how is offense going to get points? It's going to be a field goal game. A lot of kicking for them, unless New England can, get out the chute and go up 14, 13, 17 points or whatever the case may be, and make Stidham have to throw the ball. But again, Drake May, 5 turnovers, 10 sacks, last 2 games. So New England might not be the better of the 2 teams, but coming into this game, they are. The history of New England going into Denver in the playoffs is abysmal. I think they're like 1-9, something like that. It's awful. It's awful. And I was listening to Ed McCaffrey on Sirius XM, and he was saying the last time, I believe it was Ed McCaffrey, it was Super Bowl 60, Super Bowl 50, or 30, whatever it was, where Denver went to the Super Bowl and they beat up on the Patriots during the season and in the playoffs. It was Christian Fourier. That's who it was, Christian Fourier. And he was saying how the game was determined to be in Denver because Denver beat New England in the regular season game head-to-head. They had the same record, but because Denver beat New England head-to-head, the championship game was in Denver, and they went on to Super Bowl, and they won. And it was in San Francisco. Woo! An even base 10 Super Bowl year, check. New England comes to town, check. Denver has the best defense. Yeah, I said it. I think it's better than freaking Seattle in the league, check. Things aren't looking good for New England, man. But I'm picking New England because I don't think Jarrett Stidham, even though he has that defense, can match the Patriots. Drake May needs to hold on to the ball. Plain and simple. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He holds on to the ball. The team doesn't make turnovers. They don't make mistakes. They win the game. Easy. Just my pick. Let's go over to the NFC. Seahawks hosting the Rams. NFC West was the best division in football this year. 3 teams over 12 wins. 2 of those 3 are playing in the NFC conference title game. Seattle's number 1, and I believe the Rams were number 6, I believe. But I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl this year. I picked them from preseason. Them or Detroit. That's what I said. And the Rams, in my opinion, are a way better team than the Seahawks. The Seahawks have a great defense. It's not the Legion of Boom. It's they call themselves something else. I forget what they call themselves. But I'm telling you, the Rams are the better team overall. Rashid Shaheed, dangerous weapon. Dangerous special teams weapon and receiving threat. A guy we haven't heard a lot from, probably going to have a big resurgence, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba in this game. But they're going in without Zach Charbonnet, which is a huge downer for Seattle. But if you notice the team during the preseason and the season, they have a stack of running backs that are capable in Seattle. But a lot of them are just like Walker. Walker has always been a beast. Remember, this is Walker's contract year. It's his contract year. And I guarantee you, he made some money. He's going to have a nice contract waiting for him. But can he stay healthy? This year, for the most part, he did. For the most part. But now he's involved in the passing game. At least in the playoffs he's been. So if they can keep him involved in the passing game for this playoff game, Seattle's going to be very dangerous. Sam Darnold finally found Cooper Kupp. He's been avoiding him all season. I don't know why. But Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Banner, the tight end, Walker, the weakest link to me is Sam Darnold. Oblique, whatever injury it is, if they make this a shootout game like they did the Rams several weeks back, where it went to overtime and the Rams won, I think they win again. This time it don't go to overtime. Just my thought on that. I'm going to pick the Rams. I've gone with the Rams all season. I'm not jumping off now. Puka Nacua, arguably. I think he's better than Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is just dominant because he has a guy that knows him and loves him and throws him the ball all the damn time. Right? And he's got T. Higgins. Well, Puka has our guy, Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is better than T. Higgins, in my opinion. Stafford and Joe Burrow. I'm picking Burrow over Stafford because Stafford's older. But in this game, Stafford has the better experience than Sam Darnold. Both #1 overall picks. Remember that. I believe Sam Darnold was #1. No, Baker was #1. Sam was #2. I apologize. But Stafford's won a Super Bowl. Big difference. With the receiver on the other side, which is Cooper Kupp. And, you know, it is what it is. But Kerryon Williams and Blake Corum, I'm not sure if Blake's playing or not. I heard he had like a little concussion or something. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but he's there. Oh, J.K. Dobbins over in Denver. I believe he's playing. Huge, huge thing if he is. If he is, huge. But back to the Rams and Seattle. I think they get off. I think they put the pedal to the metal and they beat Seattle. In Seattle. Weather's not bad. We'll see. But that's what I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to finish off my coffee. I bought that Rise mushroom coffee. Let's see if it does what it says it does. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to thank you guys for coming into my world and listening to me. Hopefully you received some information. I can only give you what I think. Some things I do know based upon interviews I've heard on the radio, stuff like that. It's just my educated guess. Am I right all the time? No, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for stopping in, and peace unto you. And I appreciate you coming. Here we go. I'm out.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?